Hello, folks. Many of you identify yourself with one political party affiliation or the other. For instance, I myself used to identify myself as a Republican. I actually voted for Trump. I know Trump for years. And I spoke on behalf in favor of Trump. Family and friends and thousands of followers know this throughout years. Unfortunately, after a couple of research and the obvious, I no longer support Trump. Now, the funny thing is, and I'm speaking to you directly because many of you I feel that are so brainwashed, right? That you have to identify with this party and feel you have to believe or think this way. When we are human, we all have our opinions. We got to think outside the box. I cannot put you as a human being in a box. Just like we all have different fingerprints, right? Well, we all have different opinions. But one thing I could tell you for a fact, besides that, listen, I don't know it all, but I did study law, real estate law. I study business law, but I study constitutional law, civil law, common law, and that has helped me to change or realize my paradigm as well as history. And many of you don't know history. I mean, the history that you know was the one taught in school that basically said that Christopher Columbus discovered America. I learned that from a young age that our government lies to us, right? Now, there's a lot of videos that I've done, so maybe my way of thinking and paradigm is different because I happen to know many facts regarding 9/11. There's still people that believe the official story. You could go on my YouTube channel at youtube.com/George Almodovar. Now, there's a lot of videos that I put there because this is what I want you to think about. Is this. This is not about Abrega. A lot of people say, oh, this guy about the tattoos, and they misquote or they misinterpret what we're trying to convey, at least for my part and many of us, as I hear what's going on. And this is not about political parties because both parties are corrupt. Yeah, granted, I'm sure there's a few that honestly have the best interests of the people, but the majority of the party as a whole, and I'm not referring you as a direct Republican or because that's who you identify yourself with, or a Democrat, right? But the party in itself, the foundation, the head of those political parties, they obviously do not represent we the people. We've seen it, and this is the reason why I no longer support Trump. Trump says, make America great again, although funny to say that in reality, that's the same quote Hitler, the guy with the mustache, said, make Germany great again. So there's a lot of similarities in history, and those are red flags that tend to repeat itself. And if you know history, you know these facts. So one of the things that I was against was if we were going to get rid of illegal immigrants or criminals, as I thought, right? One of the reasons, because we can't have open borders, right? We don't know if a terrorist or who's coming through the borders. I get that. We agree there. Nobody wants a criminal. Nobody wants gang members running free. But the issue is that how are you able to determine if you yourself are a gang member if somebody accuses you without due process, right? There are constitutional protections that protect we the people or person, not citizens, not whatever person, human being. And that's the problem. On top of there are humanitarian laws and international laws that protect people. So when we are going after Abrega, it's not about Abrega. It's the fact that the Supreme Court, the highest court of the land, I believe knows more than you and I put together, right? There are 9 justices. They ordered this guy from El Salvador back. That should tell you a lot. But many of you are so brainwashed that you actually believe in the media showing different photos of tattoos, basically saying different stories to get you to fight against each other, because the fact of the matter is the media are owned by the same elite. The same elite that run most of our government, which is what I said. The same elite that is getting us into wars. The same elite that's sending our soldiers into harm's way and dying, right, for genocidal Zionist regime. The same people that are killing children. And that's the main reason why I personally cannot support Trump. I saw how he was actually trying to commit war crimes and ethnic cleansing. He wanted to build in Gaza, where many people have died, Gazans have died, Palestinians to be correct, and he wanted to build luxury property. He wanted to build a Riviera. If you guys don't understand this, right? And he is sending billions to Israel. What happened to America first? He's sending billions to Israel on top of missiles to kill these children. Then he's a war criminal. He is complicit of the crime. That's my perception. Okay? And on top of that, he's sending our soldiers to go fight against Houthis who are trying to stop Israel from committing these war crimes, who are trying to force Israel to bring humanitarian aid to the kids and children that are dying and innocent people and women. Okay. Now you could all twist the facts, but the fact is that Israel has attacked us Americans more than one time, many times, and I have posted that on top. Okay, there's videos that I've done on that, and for all you naive individuals in today's world, guys, please, you could fact check this. Don't start opening up your mouth arguing of things that you do not know. At the very least, put it in chat GPT, right? www.chatgpt.com. They have a free version, and you can copy and paste and ask it to validate, confirm, or deny, right? And you can ask it, you can copy and paste, and it'll show you, and it'll give you historical facts. Because many of you are deceived, and it's almost like you are a cult, really, because, oh, my guy cannot do nothing wrong. The truth, Trump was convicted of many felony charges. He's convicted, that's a fact. But the problem is, and I want you to listen to me very carefully, if the court, the highest court of the land, ordered Trump's administration to bring back 𝐓𝐻𝐷𝐿, and they are not complying, that's contempt of court. And we're not talking about a regular court. We're talking about the highest court of the land, the Supreme Court, right? You got to understand the separations of power. There's a lot of misconstrued information. But one thing I want you to tell you, when you are complicit to a crime, right? You could be guilty by association, and the court orders you to come in. And if you don't comply or gives you an order, it doesn't even have to be that, gives you an order, and you are in contempt of court, what happens? They send out the cops in a warrant to arrest you, right? They swear an oath, an affirmation on what crimes based on witnesses you may have committed, and they go get you, right? Cops. Well, if the highest court of the land has found him to be in contempt of court, who are they going to send to get him? Think about it. That's why we have what is called a constitutional crisis. This is the issue, because then we are a republic, a land of laws, right? We abide by these laws. And if we don't abide by these laws, now we are lawlessness. Thus, we become a dictatorship, kind of like what happened with Germany. So these are rules that go step by step, and we are following. Trump, honestly, is following that, which, we could make that assumption that he's becoming a dictator. And if not, he's very close, which is why I know, wait for the false flags to come, right? And I think I write better than what I speak, which is why I wrote it. Remember my words, and I'm saying it, remember this. Nothing, and I mean nothing, happens by chance or coincidence. Both political parties are bought and paid for by the Zionist genocidal regime and international banking cartels. I also wrote who are the international banking cartel, the Federal Reserve Bank, and the agent is the IRS, and I wrote a video about it, and you can fact check this as well. Okay, I also wrote how our country is beyond debt. They overextended themselves and they cannot pay it back because they had X amount of buyers from across the world, like China, that will buy our debt, right? Or basically through treasury bonds, and they're returning those bonds back because they don't want to deal with us no more. And this is why I put the Western media, it's a fact, is just a mouthpiece of the global oligarchy that thrives on deception and division. They are owned by this elite and controlled by this elite. But here's the truth. They can't suppress the oligarchy is losing its grips. As the world awakens, nations are abandoning the petrodollar, and the era of United States financial dominance is fading. We are witnessing the de-dollarization in real time, and our empire is collapsing under its own weight. So what will they do? They will do what all desperate empires do: false flags, martial law, world war, anything but relinquish their power. They will trample civil liberties. They will share constitutional protections, constitutional protection. They will divide us by race, class, ideology, anything to keep us from uniting, right? They want us remain divided, not focusing into who are the real culprits. All while they buy up our farmland, seize our real estate, and obliterate the middle class, then retreat to their underground bunkers and gated enclaves once obviously we are under war. Make no mistake, war is coming. Not because we want it, but because the empire is broke, over leveraged, and out of time. The world is done being bullied by sanctions, tariff, and endless war. That's why they are fleeing the United States Central Financial Prison and joining BRICS. For those of you who don't know what BRICS is, it's Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Now we have many other Latin countries joining them as well as other countries in Africa, including Iran. A multipolar system that now surpasses the United States and Europe combined in GDP. We are done. It will get worse before it gets better, but the illusion is collapsing. And when it does, history will remember who said it or who saw it coming. Again, remember my words. Now, I wrote this, and obviously I helped correct some grammar and issues. But the thing is that I want you to understand the truth is, I want you to look at here. Okay, we lost 97% of our buying power thanks to the banking cartel called the Federal Reserve Bank. I did a video on this as well, and our nation is collapsing. We are overextended, over debt. We have like a credit card that we are overextended. Okay, no matter what we do, our GDP does not cover the debt we have. Okay, it's trillions of dollars in debt, and we cannot pay it. We assume we were going to be okay because we print dollars, right, which creates hyperinflation or inflation. And it's going to get worse because the debt that we had that was hold off like a check by other lenders or bankers or countries are depositing that check back, collecting their money, which means eventually we will have a bank run, which eventually means your pensions, just like it happened in 2007, right, in 2008, that was another setup, and one day I'll go over that. It's going to run out. They're going to tap into your pensions, that FDIC that allegedly insures. Well, if the government goes bankrupt, how are they going to back your retirement? Okay? Those funds are going to disappear, and that's where we're heading. This is why you're seeing all these massive cuts, because we're getting close to going out of business. It's a business. America is a business, not an actual country. You may think it's a country, but it's actual a business. That's why it has a president, CEO, Secretary of State, all the formalities of a corporation. And we've been lied to. And obviously, we are all gullible. But the fact of the matter is, this banking cartel, all right, as well as the IMF and the World Banks, they're all family related. They're on an oligarchy. Happened since 1913. They created a secret get-together meeting in 1910 in Jekyll's Island, and they did something that was unconstitutional, even had to create an amendment in order to have what we have now, which is a banking cartel, the Federal Reserve Bank. They called it federal to make you think it was government when it's not, okay? They are in control. It was many senators at the time were part of it, okay? But the fact of the matter is, we have no funds, so therefore these people don't want to lose their power because BRICS is growing and we are collapsing, and this is why this is all about. This is why I know, based on this, we will eventually attack Iran. And I believe and know that Iran is more powerful than most people realize. We always think we're so powerful, but we couldn't stop planes, allegedly planes, going into the World Trade Center, right? We're not as powerful as we make believe, okay? Because there are a lot of more people that are technologically higher IQ and advanced, and that's going to come into fruition, okay? Regardless, even if we were to win, we can't win, because if the Persian Gulf becomes obstructed, we already are in inflation. Could you imagine the hyperinflation that will come through that? If petroleum goes up, trucks use oil, fuel, right, to transport food. We're already getting rid of the legal immigrants that work for cheaper, which means a lot of that crops are not picking up. Wait for the hyperinflation. On top of property, where you get all these builders right? They use a lot of these immigrants to build the property, to get supply, all these tariffs. Guys, we're being set up because we want to introduce a new system and then probably a chip, which is why we created this issue. When they came with that about immigrants, I already knew we Puerto Ricans, Americans, Latino Americans, Hispanic Americans was going to be affected because they went about it the wrong way. Okay, they could have gone another way. Maybe, for example, somebody gets locked up, know if he's an illegal immigrant, and then in their report, you go after them. But no, they're racial profiling. They're discriminating against Hispanics. So they're grabbing anybody, breaking into people's home. And don't tell me it's not happening because I have over dozens of videos on my page of Americans, including a veteran that was detained. And some of them are being beat up. Some of these Americans are being thrown on the floor, arrested, and this is happening. Therefore, this is not working. This is a violation of your civil rights, your civil liberty, constitutional rights, as well as due process. And it is a racial profiling and discrimination against us Latino people. So if you're Caucasian, you might not see it as bad, right? But eventually they will come for you. Either because, just like it happened in Germany, they don't like how you express yourself, like maybe me right now, and eventually they'll come after you. Okay? This is why this needs to be stopped. And we, the people, are getting together. You see it. The media is not showing you that because they are complicit of these war crimes and all these things that is going on. And again, getting back to Trump, how I know it's true? Because we invited a convicted war criminal into the White House, which is Netanyahu, a man who talked crap about our children's, our college kids, okay, because they were expressing under the freedom of expression and freedom of speech, war crimes against Palestinian people by Israel. And what we did to these Americans, we beat them up and we arrested them, and this is the fact. So all you hear is about green cards and all that. And by the way, there's a lot of great Jewish people, because now you got to be careful what you say, because automatically you're anti-Semitic. No, there's a lot of great Jewish people, including scholars, including Jewish historian, that will tell you the same thing that I'm telling you. Okay? Israel, in the scriptures, they use biblical accounts. Israel was Jacob. Jacob had 12 kids. That was the 12 tribes of Israel. And as long as they, biblical account, follow God's order, what they saw as God at the time, they will be blessed. Otherwise, because they disobey, this is why that is no longer in place. This is why they lost their land. Solomon's kid lost the land of Israel, what they used to call back then. The Israel today is not one and the same. These are a group of Zionist individual, what Revelation I call fake Jews. Okay,
behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan,
the indigenous
which
people
say they are Jews and are
that
not,
were Christians, Arabs, and Jews.
Behold, I will make them
to come and worship
for over 450
years
and to know
under
that I
the
have
Ottoman
loved thee.
Empire, until Britain came along and gave that piece of land to someone who requested it. His name was Rothschild, and this is a fact under the Balfour Declaration. Okay. And then in 1948, they became Israel, and they committed war crimes. And it started since then. This is why we keep seeing it. And they're running our nation right now. They're lobbyists, special interest groups. They own huge conglomerate corporation. So yeah, we are in danger, because all they have to do is lay us off. All it takes is 10%, and it will have a domino effect. If I'm not getting paid, I won't go to a restaurant. If I don't go to a restaurant, I'm not going to buy as much. Maybe that waitress now, right, loses her job as well. And then she ain't buying, and it creates a domino effect. And that's how the system works, because our house of cards based on a Ponzi scheme. Our dollar is a Ponzi scheme that is collapsing. That's the fact. And that's what's going on. So remember, constitutional rights is afforded to every person, including what you consider an illegal immigrant. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and share. And we need to unite as a people, because if not, we will definitely fall. And it is coming, guys. That's all I have. Thank you.